All right. Good morning, everyone. We're gonna let a couple of minutes run before we get started. Welcome to our webinar. What's new in Autodesk Forma this quarter? We have a big audience. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you are in the world. My name is Cesar Escalante. I'm an architect based in San Francisco. I am a technical marketing manager for the AEC portfolio products at Autodesk, and I act as a spokesman of innovation in the AEC industry. And with me is Arnie. Arnie?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm calling in today from Zurich, Switzerland. And I'm an architect by trade, but we'll go through that a little bit later on, or when we get this started as well. But I'm super happy to be able to speak with all of you, even though you're a new user, just figuring out what is new in Forma, or if you're a seasoned one, and I hope we can give you some great updates that will help your work be easier to do in Forma.
All right, I see the list of participants increasing. And I'm heavily caffeinated for this session, so I'm ready, Arnie.
Well, you should be. You started at 4 a.m. this morning, doing the last prep sessions.
The beauty of working across the world, right?
No, but seriously, I'm really looking forward to going through this webinar, because I think, as all of you will see when we're coming into this, there's a lot of really good updates. A lot of small ones, but super kind of quality of life, makes it easier, makes it faster, makes it more intuitive. And then we're also excited to bring in some larger updates as well.
Yeah. And if you missed our previous webinars on what's new, they all are available online, and it's so you can review the previous recording and stay on top of what we're cooking. All right, so should we get started, Annie?
Yes, let's go. So we'll do a first round of introduction again for those coming in a little bit later, and then we'll kickstart this.
All right, Cesar Escalante again, Senior Technical Marketing Manager for Autodesk, based in San Francisco, and excited to be here.
And I'm Arne Basso Eriksson. I am a technical marketing specialist here in Autodesk. And I'm also an architect by trade, so helping creating content that spreads awareness of Forma, but also creating learning content for making it easier to adopt and to get started. And we also have several people in the chat that will help you help answering all your questions that you might have as we go through. And then we might answer some questions live after the webinar if we have still some time. So some webinar logistics. If you're tuning in and you're having some issues with your audio system, then sometimes there's some lag issues there. So you can dial in through your phone by clicking through the audio settings. And this webinar is recorded as well, so you'll receive it through your email. And we'll also share it online. But you can also kind of reshare that with your colleagues if you want to. And some webinar interactions during kind of as we go through. It's possible to ask questions, and there's also a possibility to answer some polls as we go through. So you see one popping up on your screen now. We're going to run a few of those throughout the session. And we're very looking forward to kind of seeing interaction and learning a little bit more about you. And for those of you that tunes in after this webinar, but also you and I don't know about you, Cesar, but sometimes when I'm in a meeting, I don't come up with the great questions that I'm actually wondering about. So if you do come up with some questions afterwards, you can scan this QR code and that will take you into our Forma forum, and you can just continue asking your questions there. So without further ado, Cesar, for all of those of you that might not know exactly what Forma is, then we thought we should start a little bit.
All right, if you're new to Forma, I'm going to give you a 2-minute pitch of what's Forma and how it can enhance your workflows. Forma is a cloud-based platform designed to streamline early design stages, offer a wide variety of AI-powered tools to enhance your project outcomes. Here's how Forma transforms your workflow. Forma allows you to set up a geolocated project with real-world contextual data, including terrain, utilities, climate information, to help you establish an accurate site parameters in just minutes. Forma has an intuitive set of free-flowing sketch tools that allow you to rapidly create complex 3D design concepts. It includes area metrics and real-time environmental analysis such as wind, solar, noise, embodied carbon to optimize your design for sustainability and quality of life. You can compare multiple design iterations side by side and make data-driven decisions that align with your project goals. And you can collaborate in real time using tools like Forma boards. You can add sheets, images, annotations directly on a board and present your design with stakeholders. You can also access Forma extended capabilities through custom APIs or third-party extensions that are tailored to specific needs. These integrations allow you to advance analysis with custom workflows, ensuring that Forma adapts to your unique project requirements. So in a nutshell, Forma bridges the gap between planning and detailed design, helping you deliver more innovative solutions and meeting your sustainability goals. So today we've been working really hard on improving Forma in the last quarter. This quarter, you will notice faster, better, and smarter modeling tools, new features for collaboration in Forma board, a lot of new enhancements in our analytical tools, and a variety of new extensions developed by our third-party providers.
And just a quick reminder, Forma is a cloud product that runs in your Chrome browser. So you always have the latest update, the latest version, and there's no extra installs added or needed. Yeah.
All right, before we dig into the modeling, just double checking on the polls, Amira. Are we closing them? Or are they going to stay open?
Yes, closing them in a second.
All right. All right, we have 38 new features and updates this quarter. And we have updates and announcements on 5 new extensions. Let's dig into it. So on the modeling side, we have a new section box that allow you to slide a model in specific areas. This is particularly very valuable when you're working in very large, complex projects and you want to focus your analysis or your discussion on the specific sections of a model. When you enable the feature and the camera options, we will be presented with section box planes, and then you can click on each of the edges and adjust the section box size. With the section box, you can save multiple section cameras and combine them with your analytical studies. Note that the section box is only available in design mode. and it's not available in the compare or Forma board at the moment. But I love the flexibility of studying your model in specific areas. The next one is curb roads and rails. When you design roads, you now have a greater ability to design it with speed or precision. We have introduced dynamic ways of editing curved roads and create very smooth configurations that can be fine-tuned by manually inputting or dragging radius values. You can easily add or remove vertices or reshape the layouts using the road tools. We have improved also the visual sharpness of the roads for greater clarity in design presentation.
One thing I really like about the new visual, or what is quite cool with the new road tool, is that in the migration, we actually migrated all your projects into this new model. So even though you have models or roads in your projects now that are kind of square and has very kind of hard edges, you can just double click that road and you can straight from there add the radius to those roads. So you don't need to draw them again to do that.
Yeah, kudos to this improvement that was largely requested by our community. This is another biggie. This is the next generation of our Explore tool. We call it site automation. The site automation tool leverages generative design to automate and optimize early stage conceptual design, producing a wide range of different design options based on an expanded user-defined inputs. The layouts can be manually adjusted and edited using vertices or edges or custom lines. And you can evaluate very quickly not only the massing potential of your site, but assess the impact in area metrics and environmental performance. Arnie will be demonstrating shortly in a second in a live demo. Arnie?
Yes, I'm super happy about this. And also it's exciting to give you a live demo because at least as an attendee, I quite enjoy seeing these things come together live rather than just being presented something. So we'll go ahead and start. So I'm just in Forma. I have a site here in Presidio in San Francisco. I thought this was quite cool, or a good place because it has a little bit of elevation to it, to give you a good indication. So the new site automation tool, you'll find it in the toolbar, and we'll use the trace existing shape. So right off the bat, you get some suggestions of what can be put on the site, and you can also change your input. So it's way more dynamic and user kind of driven this time. But for now, we're going to use a grid, and we're going to change the grid orientation so that it runs along this road. And we can change the grid width. And as you see, as we're doing all of these changes, the area metrics update. So it's very easy to see if you're improving or if you're doing something that is kind of more tailored towards your needs as you go through. So we're gonna release this zone. Another cool thing that we've done now is that you can double click outside and you can still come in and do these changes to your design afterwards as well. So you can pick something that aligns more with your needs. But to be able to look at individual buildings, we're going to go ahead and release that. And then we're going to head on into Sketch to go through the first iterations.
There's so many updates in the 3D Sketch, guys, and Arnie's doing a great job demonstrating them live.
All right, so I'm gonna take the three first ones and combine them. So I'm going to start with releasing this line building and then putting it into 3D Sketch that I can continue to work directly in here. So one of the big new updates that we've done is to enable more control through the tab functionality. So if we're going to move, for example, a building, we now have two modes where we can move it. We can move it in free mode, which is it will connect exactly where your mouse is hovering, or we can click on tab, and then it will only follow the horizontal plane of where we were working. So you'll see that even though we're trying to follow the terrain here, it will stay at the same spot. And I'll go through this tab functionality in several of the tools that we're going through because it expands more than just a single tool. One other thing that we've added is helplines. And I'll show you this now, because if we, for example, use the spline tool, it's a good way of showing this. If we're in the horizontal mode, you can see that we added this green dotted line to show you exactly what you're snapping to. And we're also added so that you can click enter to finish a line, and that it automatically extrudes right after you finished drawing. And again, you can see the green line, the green dotted line helping you to know exactly what you are snapping to. And this brings me over to two other tools that we've added. And one is we had a lot of features and things that you could do with your volumes inside 3D Sketch that were a little bit hidden behind the right-click menu, and that we moved that into this right menu here, or the toolbar, so that you can now see what you can do with that face. And the second update that we've done here is you can now visualize curved surfaces. So before you could see all of these lines, but now you can see more of it displays as a more of a curved surface, and you can even do stuff like this. You can tilt them, you can rotate them, and it does this now also in 3D Sketch, but also inside design mode. So it eliminates a lot of line work that's just cluttering and a little bit in the way. The fifth, or the sixth update that we've managed to do is that it's now possible to, let's see, I just need to remove the floors on this one to show you this update. It's now possible to add a color to your volumes. This is great for if you're doing visualizations or diagramming, which is kind of before you've started to add floors and know more or add more metrics. It's a great way to get to build your story.
Think about creating these colorful stack diagrams that represent a different type of color-coded parameters. Awesome new addition to the tools.
Yeah, I think it's nice to have it inside Forma as well, and you can, for example, build out your proposal, and then you can duplicate it and take out the floors and add colors to the building to kind of show more. However, after you've gone in, you can also add the floors to all of them, and then that allows you to add functions to those volumes, and then you can also, it's also broken down so that you can see the area metrics for those buildings, etc. And then this is one of my favorite tools. I'm gonna just show you on a different building here, and that's opening it in 3D Sketch, and that's hiding the rest of the model while you're working. Because I think a lot of times it's a little bit kind of you're in between something, you want to access a certain corner, and there's a building in the way. And now through the visibility or display options, you can choose to hide the surroundings. So this will greatly kind of help you stay more in control of what you're doing. And you can toggle using the H key on your keyboard to turn that on and off, making sure that you still are aligned with what's going on with the rest of the context. It will also ease snapping so that it doesn't snap to kind of the whole scene, but it will be kind of more in line with what you're doing here. Which brings me over to the next one, which is a very, very powerful way of dealing and working with your objects and buildings, and that's the auto extrude, and that it works on other buildings. So, for example, you can work here, and you can add or subtract directly on a building. You don't need to create a shape and then extrude. It just works that way straight off the bat. And I'll show you one more of another example of the tab functionality. So if we're taking this and making it into pitched roof, I don't work in inches, so we're in the imperial system, so I'm just gonna add 5 meters to this so that I know kind of the pitching of the roof. But the tab functionality works here very nicely. So you select a face, and then it says down here that you can taper extrude, or you can press tab and it will taper extrude, sorry, which is super powerful and very fast to use as you're working. I really like this update, and it just makes sorry, there we go. It just makes it a lot faster to work. What do you think about Cesar?
Yeah, it makes the modeling experience as super easy to use. I love kudos to our developer team who is making big strides and making this really accessible, easy, intuitive, and make it more efficient, your process of modeling and design and conceptual design.
And I think going on to the last one, it's kind of a twofold thing because it's about setting your axis. So sometimes you want to pick, like sometimes you, for example, instead of working on exactly this grid that we're having and on this face, you now have the option also to right click and then select axis. And you can, for example, click here and then you pick the axis that you want to work off. Just hit escape and you'll see the axis there. And if you now build a new volume, it will snap to that axis. So it's quite powerful and handy in that way. However, we already have the possibility, or we're doing you a favor of already making this tool work on the face of what you're doing. So I selected this edge now, and you'll see that it works on this edge. So if I extrude or take away, then you'll see that it works on that face. And similarly, if I do the same thing on this edge, you'll see that it pops in. But this is where, again, tab helps, because if I press tab, it will work inside and use the horizontal plane. And now I can add stuff like this, or I can, again, subtract that, and then you have openings. So very quickly, you can go from having something, from building your concept of your site through the site automation, to actually starting to add quite a lot of details to your building inside one software, and it's pretty fast.
Yeah, this is just a small sample of everything in 3D Sketch is about, and every quarter we're adding continuously improvements. If you want to have an entire review of what 3D Sketch is, head out to our webpage. The help files on the help site of Forma has a very nicely organized section of 3D Sketch. Probably the best place to check what we've been doing for the past year. Let's check the next one.
And then I'm just gonna, because I couldn't give you a demo of everything because I didn't have an import at the moment. But we're also made some big strides in helping you be faster inside 3D Sketch with imported buildings. So now it's faster loading times. You have better control because it's more snappy. And this, even just this little file could freeze up IFC files or freeze up 3D Sketch. Whereas now 3D Sketch launches instantly, it allows you to individually select nested geometries, which is a game changer because now you can, on big models, you don't necessarily need everything that's inside. You can just take off the top and then select everything inside, delete, and then you're stuck with what is currently able to analyze in Forma. And then another really good, small but just nice update, we've added clear graphics for when you're drawing. So it's, as you see on the before and after picture here, it just makes it easier, especially when you're working with terrain. And Cesar, there's also a really nice quality of life improvement here.
Yeah, we have introduced a lot of enhancement in 3D navigation. We're offering now a unified mouse experience with much simpler 3D navigation tools. They're more consistent and more intuitive in every visual mode: analysis, terrain editing, import preview. These fix some of the reports customers flagged for us. In the orbit and zoom, for example, target points were previously reported as causing unexpected orbit swings. We have fixed that. Now, when the cursor is over a building or a terrain, the orbit will center around that point. Another thing we've done, we improved the zoom tool. It's been refined to zoom towards the point where the cursor is located. It slows down when you're getting closer to the geometry, and it speed up as you when you are in the back. This enhancement reduces confusion. It improves your user experience. It simplifies your productivity and your workflows. Check out on the screen the revamped list of different mouse iterations. And kudos again to the development team. Another thing, now our scenarios and our proposal are able to be exported in vector images. This new feature introduced the ability to export a project or a view as an SVG format. It gives you greater flexibility and precision when creating graphical representations. And it's available in this drop-down menu that allows you to choose between a traditional 4K export or the new vector-based format. The vector exports is scalable and it has an independent resolution, and it's ideal for producing high-quality visualizations or marketing materials.
I particularly like that one because as an architect, I used to do diagrams all the time. And part of that was popping out a few buildings and working on the line work just to make those visualizations clear. It was, so I'm really happy that we've now brought that.
Yeah, think about connecting an exported image in InDesign and enhancing it there for marketing purposes, or to move it even as a background in an AutoCAD or other authoring file.
And I quite like that it opens up with it's already layered. So if you don't like kind of the colors or the shading that we got from Forma, you can just turn those off in Illustrator or your SVG editor, and then you can work from it from there. So we're trying to make it quite easy for you to be able to do these to make these diagrams quite fast. And you just use the camera angle in Forma. So you can save a camera angle, so you use the same one every time, and then you just save it out from there.
Absolutely. Let's check what's new in the collaboration front, in particular, what's new in Forma board. Integration with ACC. This was announced in Autodesk University last year. And then last quarter, we also introduced the ability to add live 3D models hosted in a docs project. Now, building on top of this, we now allow to add a doc file as an image frame, making it easier to capture snapshots into a Forma board. With this new feature, you can share and discuss, a specific complex file. But it's important to note that these images are static and they're not dynamically linked to docs at the moment. But it's a good way to keep track of the history and evolution of a project during the life of the design. Another nice addition is the introduction of the level of detail. Level of detail for images fix these performance issues when working with boards with very large images. I don't know if you've experienced this in the past, but when you had a large image, the processing time to refresh it was very long. And now, when an image is zoomed out, the image is displayed in a lower quality. And when you zoom in, is a higher quality version of the image. A great addition.
Yeah, I particularly like that, especially if you're using it as a team effort and you're just adding a lot of images, and it just doesn't slow down Forma board anymore. It's equally fast. You can just have everything you need. You just zoom into where you need, and then that image is opening in a high resolution. And I'm particularly happy about this presentation mode. I don't know why, it just really gives me good feelings.
Yeah, this is one of my top favorites, Ernie. Presentation mode in Forma is designed to present the content of a board in a more engaging, collaborative, and flexible way. So this mode allows you to showcase this content dynamically and interactively. And there are different ways of doing this. You can organize the content into frames. Each of the frames can serve as a slide boundary. And this slide boundary, it's organized in a presentation sequence. You will find on board a new side panel that allows you to sort and add frames in a specific order, or you can select a specific one and show it in full screen. You can add camera views, you can add analysis results that stay updated in real time, ensuring that your presentation is always reflecting the latest data. This new feature integrates presentation capabilities directly in Forma and avoid the need to moving into other external presentation software to coordinate and discuss your work with other stakeholders. Nice addition. Then another is printing boards. This is a new introduced capability of printing Forma content and share it with your stakeholders. You can do it in different ways. You can select any element in the Forma board, right-click, and send it to print. You can also select multiple frames in a specific order, and each of the frames is going to be printed as a separate page. And then finally, you can also, if you don't make any selection and you send the print, the entire board is going to be printed in one single page. So with this functionality, you can create a physical copy of your board offering you greater flexibility and how you prepare and share your design with other people.
And I'm particularly liking this as well. It just frees up the design teams to stay consistent when they're exporting their knowledge from Forma. It's just the frame stays the same. You can very easily change the order of the presentation so that when you're printing and when you're selecting stuff, it just frees up that time of going into a separate tool to work from a different place. And yeah, and on top of that, we've added a few more updates that I think also really helps.
Yeah. Next, we have miscellaneous enhancements, mostly in capabilities for adding videos in boards. We made available now the ability to paste Wistia video links. If you don't know what Wistia is, a video marketing platform to host videos. And if you are a company that uses Wistia videos, you can just copy paste the link in board and it automatically embedded in the Forma space. The same way, this is not new, but you can do this with YouTube videos as well. Just copy the YouTube path into the Forma space and it will play for it. We also revamped the notes widget. This is in response of some frustrations about the lack of flexibility in the previous notes. Now we make it easier to add and manage notes in design reviews and collaboration. All right, let's take a look next on what's new in analysis and simulation. I'm very excited about this one.
Oh, I know you are. You're a big carbon lover.
Yeah, since the introduction of embodied carbon analysis, this is one of my favorite ones because I understand the impact that sustainability and carbon has in current practices. So 6 new enhancements in the carbon analysis. Let's get started. The first one, we have streamlined the settings interface. We have a new consolidated UI that combines both the structure of the envelope and the building use into a simplified settings dialog box, reducing the number of clicks to run the analysis. The second one is we have expanded the analysis to line buildings. The analysis now include the ability to analyze line buildings. That was a big feature request by our customers, and we have listened, and we're delivering. So in addition to basic buildings, line buildings are not supported. The third one, buildings with overhangs are now included in analysis results. In the previous version of the analysis, buildings that have overhangs were ignored, but now we include a warning of that alert to the user about the potential inaccuracies of the overhangs, but it is now included in the analysis. The next update is that now, and this is my favorite one, you now have the ability to compare embodied carbon analysis side by side. This makes it easier to interpret the results and compare the trade-off between different conceptual designs.
I think for me, this makes the biggest difference because now I think it was so easy to set up different ways of running the analysis, but without actually knowing what I changed, what made it better, and to see which one. And you can do it more than 2 as well. You can have 4 or 5 different settings shown and be able to see exactly what change did I do and how would that impact the total result. So I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and not only that, Arnie, now users are aware of the most updated version because the user interface display the time and date of the analysis. And also, we have included a new notification system that prompt you to rerun the analysis when the view is outdated. So big enhancements in the carbon front of Forma. It helps you meet your carbon reduction goals with greater efficiency.
I'm still really happy about all those announcements. And I think adding on top of that, we've now been able to do under the hood improvements so that we understand the semantic mesh, like the outer boundaries of any buildings coming into Forma. So if you're importing, we're now actually able to understand what is a facade and what is a roof, even though they might be tilted. So that means that we can break down the analysis results in facades and roofs, giving you additional knowledge and understanding of the results. And we've added now that for sun hours, daylight, potential, and solar energy as well. So I think that's a big improvement. And one other thing that we've got some feedback on, which I'm happy that we've been able to add as well, is if you go into the settings menu here, you're now able to choose the time interval of 1 minute intervals instead of 6 minutes that was before. So you can be even more granular and specific about exactly what you're looking for. So now it's now possible then to pick that quarter past 2 or 4:30. And I'm also looking very much forward to going into some integrations. And before we do that, we're running a small poll just to understand kind of what are you using as your softwares, just so that we also understand kind of what we can help you with and emphasize a little bit more as well. All right, so let's dive in. I just need to move some things around here. There we go. So we tried to make it a little bit easier for you to get started when you're creating new projects and when you are when you want to order more new buildings. So we've now, when you go in through the order data module and you add a building or a road or maybe the trees that we mentioned earlier, we now add them directly into the canvas instead of before we added them into the library portal, and then you had to manually add them to the scene. So we've reduced that step and we're just adding them directly. We're adding them also into the library side of it so that you can re-add them later on if you decide to. So less steps for setting up. Which brings me over to the next one. It's something that was a little bit annoying earlier because your data was too crowded and you didn't know what did I actually order and what did I import. And now we've separated those two so that the left bar there now has two icons. It has the library icon and the contextual data tab or area. So hopefully this will help with a little bit less crowded libraries. But I think also from my side, I think it's easier now to understand what has I or my teammates added into my project and what is available for me. And an even bigger thing, which is the feature has been there for a long time, but you can save things up to the hub level. So up to your company level, whether that being reuse of floor plans or some buildings or kind of normal typologies that you're using, or trees or people or cars, and you can save that up to hub level, and then you can download them straight into your projects. You don't need to go into a folder structure somewhere to find it. You just download it straight from the Forma hub library.
I like how you have this. You can have this kit of parts of your list of library components that are project specific and hub specific, so they can be shareable in different scales.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I really like that one. And then part of ordering new data, and I think in some countries, we already have the possibility to download LOD2 buildings, so buildings with higher fidelity. We have that now in Germany and in Netherlands, at least. And before there was a lot of lines on what we displayed, and we cleaned that up a little bit so that it's less distracting, but still keeps that kind of nice fidelity level of detail. It's just a good improvement of life, I think. And this is actually really exciting because I often find that when working in Forma, you lose a sense of scale. And I think bringing trees in helps with that, but then it can take quite a long time to do it. So now I'm really excited to say that you can order OpenStreetMap trees. So OpenStreetMaps is a free community maintained geographic database. So people and the community can add stuff into OpenStreetMap and then allows everyone to kind of share on a collaborative platform. And we're now added specifically the tree layer as a download option. So you can, and it's free, so you can just go in, download the trees for your site and see if somebody has added trees there. It's a good kind of get started option. And by default, all of the trees are set to 9 meters because the OpenStreetMap doesn't contain that height data, so we've set it to 9 meters. And although technically not a new feature inside the software, we created a fun little advent calendar in December that showcased all our current extensions, which is now 20 plus extensions, and there are also kind of privately extensions that is added. And although some of them might not be new, but it's a great overview to see, okay, so what is possible and what can the different extensions do to my workflow. So feel free to check that out on our LinkedIn page.
Yeah, so subscribe to our channel in LinkedIn to stay updated to the latest announcements. We publish the new features and capabilities as soon as they are available. And if you go to the page, you will see all the historical announcements and stay on top of what's been released so far.
Yeah, and then we also run a campaign called Forma Forward. You can follow the hashtag, and then you'll understand that, or you'll see that you can get new updates about new features coming in, so it's easier to stay up to date. And then this is really exciting because I saw a little bit on the side, a lot of people are using Rhino, and a lot of you are using Revit as well. And I'm excited to say that we've added some really good enhancements to both of those plugins. So for the Rhino plugin, it's now possible to add the newly designed curved roads, so that will come into Rhino, and we've improved the vegetation import and just the terrain thickness because there were some bugs there, and it now works better. And in general, we've added some minor enhancements to handling larger data sets. And then for Revit, we've been pushing really hard to do a lot of updates to Revit. We've fixed some bugs that had crept in. And we've also added some new features to it, especially around new terrain option when you're syncing. We've made sure that you can now choose different options, also satellite images, but for the terrain. The plugin now supports more elements being brought into Revit. And I think this is quite a good one as well. Like if you bring something into from Forma into Revit, and if you delete it now in Revit and sync, it will now also be deleted in Forma. So I think it's just a nice way of doing things. And Of course, if you draw something new in Revit, it will be synced also to Forma.
Yeah, we need to.
And
The,
then
the connection with Revit, it's one of our highest priority, and we want to hear from you. So if you have feedback, go to the community and let us know how this is working for you and how it may not be working. We listen to your comments and try to incorporate your suggestions to make this connection more streamlined.
yeah, and we have a big team working on it with some people that's been in Autodesk and specifically working on Revit for 10 plus years. So it's really exciting to have that kind of knowledge and work to make that workflow just more easy to use, more user friendly, and for you just less painful. Let's go again. We're going to jump into something that you talked a little bit about earlier, but we're excited that we can talk a little bit more about carbon.
I have 2 minutes for the last two announcements, and I'm very excited about these ones. The first one is that we are announcing the integration with One-Click LCA. If you don't know what One-Click LCA is, it's an AI-powered sustainability tool that conducts life cycle assessments, generate environmental product declarations, and optimize carbon footprints for buildings. One-Click LCA extension for Forma allows you to create compliant and optimized project scenarios that are specific to a site condition and zoning regulations in just a few minutes. You can define project-specific requirements, such as setback regulations, user-defined constraints, directly in these extensions. And the integration ensures that all these scenarios meet the regulatory and project-specific guidelines. You can adjust generative scenarios using Forma-friendly inputs, and you can export these scenarios to CAD and other authoring tools for further development. I'm very excited about this. And then the last one, which I'm also very excited, it's a new extension for a embodied carbon analysis. This is an integration with Viscab. Viscab is a French company that offers life cycle assessments using cloud service. And the extension integrates Forma with Viscab. You can select a building, and you can select the extension to automatically detect parameters like housing distribution, location, geometry, and run the analysis to generate a very detailed LCA result. What differentiates this tool is that it creates a prediction of a very detailed bill of quantities. And you can visualize regulatory compliance by product category and benchmark your project against similar designs using some of the Viscab databases. For much deeper insights, you can connect your proposals to the full Viscab platform where you can review the bill of quantities. You can explore the results with advanced data and visualize tools that optimize and display the sustainability compliance with project outcomes. Two new additions on the carbon side, paired with the out-of-the-box embodied carbon, and we're really addressing this industry need. I'm very excited about this. We might, in the near future, create a dedicated session just on how to use carbon analysis across the design lifecycle. What do you think about this, Arnie?
I am super, I'm just impressed because this goes above my level of understanding of how it's possible to understand or learn so much more about the building in that early phase. But I just think it's impressive that it's possible to predict to that high level. So I'm really excited that we're able to add both of these two extensions. I think that's super interesting. Although we're kind of finished going through the webinar, please continue to ask questions on our LinkedIn or on the forum that you can find here. I thought also there's a few questions in the chat there. I think that could be we can go through. So I saw that Francis had asked about, can you do manual subdivisions of the bigger site? I assume that was asked during the site automation go through. And yes, that is possible. You can draw, even though you can choose a grid, you can also choose, I'll show you, it's easier. So when you have your model, you can also draw your own lines. So in here, you can pick up other things that are inside your project. And again, these are adjustable so that you can work further with them. So I think that's a really cool addition to this tool, is that you have more flexibility now to tailor exactly what you want in the end. I saw also another question here regarding is Grasshopper integration on the roadmap by any chance, from Jacob Russo. Although the Grasshopper directly is not added, we do have an extension where you can upload your Grasshopper script and then run the Grasshopper script from there. So that is the Shape Diver edition, or the extension. So means you can build, for example, a Grasshopper tool, you upload it to their site, and then you can run it from our place, meaning that you can enable your bigger team with custom tools for inside Forma. Alternatively, you can run Grasshopper in your Rhino instance and then push it from Rhino into Forma. That integration or the plugin goes both ways, so and it's quite responsive, so you can do it that way as well. And if you don't use Grasshopper but you use Dynamo Player, you can also run Dynamo straight into Forma as well.
I'm going to answer.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer the last question. Is related about shared coordinates. And sorry if we cannot address all the questions live, but we will continue this on the forum. Right now, when you start a project in Forma and move it into Revit, it establishes shared coordinates using UTM coordinate systems. We are working hard to expand the availability of shared coordinate systems. But if you have already a project in Revit and you want to link a Forma site that is in a different shared coordinate system, you can create it in a blank project and then manually link it into your project. I know there's a lot of drawbacks in that process, but it's the immediate workaround. But expect expanded shared coordinate system is offered in the near future, and an improved workflow with shared coordinates. With that said, I think we reach it's 9 o'clock, and we're getting close to the end of the session. Thanks everyone for calling in, and thanks Arnie for the great demonstration live. Look forward to see you all in the next quarterly updates, and stay tuned on what's new on Forma on our LinkedIn page, in our help files, and in social media. Follow us on LinkedIn to stay tuned on our announcements. And thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.